Yeah, so my name is Jeremy Kilpatrick. I'm a teacher at TAFE New South Wales, and I teach at the Hills College, and I'm an IT teacher. I currently work in the industry as well. I have a small business that involves cloud computing, and I look after small business clients. So today, I want to talk to everyone about how to move your business to the cloud, and specifically going to focus on how to move your small business to the cloud. So the definition of the cloud that gets thrown around a lot is cloud computing is the use of computing resources, and that might be hardware or software, as a service over the internet. Now, of course, different people have different definitions, but it might help if we have a few examples to illustrate what the cloud is. And a lot of people are actually already using cloud, but they might not actually know it. Some examples of the cloud are email. A lot of people use things like Gmail, Yahoo, Hotmail. This is an example of people using a cloud application. Their email isn't hosted at their own premises, it's actually hosted online. That's an example of the cloud. Another example may be the use of accounting software online. Things such as MYOB, hosting it online. You just access their services through the internet rather than having it installed on your actual computer. That's another example of a cloud application. Well, now that we've looked at what the cloud actually is, we'll actually talk about what the advantages of the cloud are, and specifically for small businesses looking to move into the cloud. Now, really one of the biggest advantages for a small business is the idea of mobility, and that is using any device, anywhere, at any time. A lot of users now have mobile devices that they like to use, such as their iPhone, their iPad. And previously, they couldn't use these devices at work, but now with the advent of the cloud, they can access their cloud applications and do what they normally do at work through any of these devices. As long as they have a device that has the internet, can access the internet on it, then they can use that as a device. Another advantage would be utilizing the pay-as-you-go model. Whereas you used to have to pay for all the hardware, you have to pay for the software. Now you can actually just pay for what you need. Okay, so normally cloud applications are licensed in the sense that you might pay per month or pay per year, and you can actually add extra licenses as needed. So you can also scale your hardware. Another advantage is the reduced maintenance cost, because you no longer have to maintain servers, so you no longer have to worry about maintaining hardware or software for those servers. Yeah, well, now we've had a bit of a look at what some of the advantages of the cloud are. We should also have a look at the risks, because you need to weigh it up before you decide to move into the cloud. Now, I guess one of the biggest risks that comes to mind straight away is the reliance upon an internet connection. Of course, if you need the browser to be able to do your work, to access your cloud applications, then you actually have to have an internet connection 24/7. So that is a bit of an issue, but having said that, I look after a small business owner. I wanted to move into the cloud. I told him that issue, and he said, well, Jeremy, look, it's not really an issue, because everything we do nowadays anyway relies upon the internet connection. So he said that his office, if he didn't have an internet connection, he would have to send his staff home anyway. So it's not such a big issue for a lot of people, but it is something to keep in mind. Yeah, so now that we've had a look at some of the disadvantages, we want to talk about what some questions are that small businesses should ask before moving into the cloud. And one of the main questions they should ask themselves is, what do they want to achieve by going into the cloud? Because you want to make sure you achieve what you set out to do. For a lot of organizations, for example, they might want to achieve mobility. So they want to make sure the cloud service that they select will give them mobility, so that it basically can be supported by different devices such as iPads, iPods, iPhones, etc., that they can access it across all these different devices. They should also ask themselves, what can I move onto the cloud? Now, a lot of organizations may want to go for a bit of a gung-ho approach and instantly migrate everything over to the cloud, but that's a pretty big risk. They should look at what they do and try and find something simple to move onto the cloud. I guess one of the other big questions that small businesses owners should ask is, what's their backup plan? If they move to the cloud, how do they get out of it if they want to change? So they need to think about that. They need to think about how they can get their data back off the cloud, and then how they can get back up and running without using that cloud provider. So that's another thing they need to think about.